Welcome to the Big Cheese Podcast. I'm here today with Brandon, as usual.
Hello, sir.
And we have a special guest today, Chris Theisen.
Yay, we got it right.
Bullpen Consulting, and I said his name right.
So this is going to be embarrassing. So, Chris, how long have you and I known each
I
other?
would say it's, 15 years or
Probably 15
maybe even
years.
more than that, yeah.
I have never pronounced his name properly. Ever. And yeah, there's no excuse. So I apologize. You are not. I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to say it because it's actually not a bad last name the way I say it in my head.
Yeah,
But Tyson is way easier.
true.
So you are officially my new
We shouldn't
friend.
have ruined it. We should have taken guesses in the comments on how to say it.
damn
That'd have been a
you.
good little poll, maybe.
If we would prepare for this.
Can we edit this out?
No, we don't do edits. Welcome,
All right.
everybody.
Off the top of my bald
Yeah,
head.
it is it's April, end of April, roughly. So,
Yeah, today's April 23rd.
yes, 2026.
2026.
And we were just talking before we started the podcast about a former editor of ours that we had early on in the show. And we were trying to think it was probably 2023 that we were doing it. And how much was learned from that experience, and that this guy who wasn't doing AI stuff, just like got comfortable with it, started using it, and now pretty much the majority of the work he does is powered by AI, and he's the AI guy.
Yeah, the we were so excited about AI back then.
Oh, I
And
know.
I think we all are still. I mean,
Sure.
I'm more than ever, but like we were making predictions a lot because it was like, oh, this is going to transform. So we were constantly like talking about how the world was going to change. You know, when you started getting that, I don't know how many tokens a second do you need from a response speed perspective? Do you need for it to feel like natural? Like what was it? Like, is it like 100? Is it like 200? I don't know. I don't know. But there was some point in 2023
Where it
was
happened.
where you'd ask a question and it wouldn't be.
Oh yeah, right.
The delay.
It was
Yeah,
like I equated it to like downloading a JPEG off of AOL.
Off of AOL.
You know, like we're getting close.
Woo! It's a dick. Oh,
I knew you'd go there.
you set me up, you dick.
Yeah, I did. I set you up for that. But you know, back then it was just like early.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people were chasing, but then it was like this Christmas, you know, Opus 4.6 and Claude Code really like took things to the next level. And now we're like, you know, Claude, in the last week, Claude reported that they tripled their revenue in one quarter. They went from 10 billion to 30 billion in one quarter.
That's ridiculous. And they're probably still losing money.
That's another good point. They're and the VCs love them. And then Cursor gets a promissory note essentially from SpaceX to buy them at any point for 60 billion if they want. So they're preparing. They're basically like, hey, when we get money, we're going to be able to buy you for 6. But if they don't buy them, they have a $10 billion
just like service.
Like the contract that they just signed said they are at least going to get 10 billion.
Right.
And for
Just to hold their place in line.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to hold. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. So we're definitely here. We're in the future now.
We are in the future
We're
now.
in the
So
future now.
that's the setup. We're in the future now.
Well, and that's what Brandon and I were
Yes.
just talking about before we started too, is we're all in the future now, right? But there's definitely the curve, right, of
The
where we're
majority,
at.
probably, right?
And just, if you go on, it's whatever your context and chamber is, right? If you're in your systems and your channels and you're listening to the echo chamber that you're in, you think the future is now. And then I go have a meeting this morning with somebody who has done some stuff, but then hadn't heard of Notebook LM, right? And so to us, that's like 3 years ago.
Yep.
And to this guy that actually understands some of these tools and uses them, little personally, a little bit for business, didn't know kind of the basic tooling, right? So we're still at the very early end of that adoption curve for sure.
So I was thinking about something similar to that today. Like I still go to Claude every morning. And I've switched tools. We've all switched between tools. Currently, the choice for me is Claude Code. Right. Like, and for anything.
So like when you say I go to Claude, you actually go to your terminal.
I go to Claude Code.
Okay.
I don't use now I just started using their Chrome extension.
Yes.
I solved a problem with their Chrome extension that I could not solve with Claude Code yesterday.
Okay.
And I, you know, our boy from Chuck Lab was the one that gave me the recommendation on LinkedIn.
No kidding.
He
Good
said
for
you
him.
should try it because it's replaced. But anyways, you know, is still that fast response time that you get.
Yeah.
And to your point, Chris, like if people were truly adopting Claude Code and Claude at the scale that they're kind of projecting it, there's no way that their systems would be able to handle the incoming traffic.
That's a really good point, actually.
Well, and we're in the middle of that here in Indianapolis with all of the surrounding counties with the farmland we have, right, and all the development around having to build out the data centers to be able to hold all of that compute. Right. And there's a chance that doesn't happen. There's a chance there's enough pushback that where it goes from a scale standpoint is going to have to either be less or they're going to charge us a lot more money to access the systems because there's a finite amount of data centers.
Are you currently paying for to this point the payment switch, the coming tide?
Yeah.
You're paying for Claude the not the $20 one. You're paying.
No,
for
I'm on the max.
Okay, so the $20 one, I don't know.
The $20 plan is being retired, I think, or they're testing retiring it.
Well, I don't think you get the CLI access. I don't think you get Claude Code in the Pro one anymore.
They're
grandfathering
it.
Yeah, but that's so.
Well, that's the problem that's the problem with all of these tools right now. It's all a huge bait and switch from a revenue perspective, right? So you give it away for free, and then ultimately, or you're the product, or your wallet is the product, right? Yeah. If we talk about Facebook, how long did they take before they started making money? I mean, and then you became the product, right? But I mean, I can see me being willing to pay up to $1,000 a month.
Shut your
They're
mouth.
scraping us right now.
Good God, man! What did you?
I just had this conversation. Like, what price point from Claude?
Dickhead.
Would you be willing to pay?
Me? $20 a month.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So you're saying if they increase the price to $25 a month, you'd start raw dogging code?
I wouldn't start raw dogging code. I would start buying hardware and I would start building towards where I think the hockey puck's going to go.
Well, that's the problem with VC, right? So VC pumps in a bunch of money to a platform like this, right? It gets to the point where they can subsidize that cost. Right. So they're subsidizing growth, new users. They're also building all these amazing features because they have runway. Right. But there gets to a point where they jack up your rates so much that guess who the winner in that, I think, maybe becomes like Apple.
They
just hired the new CEO of Apple is an engineer.
Yeah.
Okay. He built iPads. Right. He built all kinds of stuff. And that world, that decentralized AI world.
Yep.
Do you need, Chris, the data centers, the compute? Like, that's the push and pull I think we're headed to in this new future.
100%.
Yeah, and it's way geekier and even more so than me. But you're talking turbo quants and all these all the quantum computing and where that's going to go. But does that ever get commercialized? Right? Can they build it? But I think from my side of it, it's all these people that are essentially using the free tooling and trying to figure out still prompting and all these base things. Right? Their curve is going to be so far behind that when it does flip to being $1,000 a month, and they're still only used to using the free tools, they're not going to have any structure to understand how to go deploy, CLIs.
Yeah,
and
so
these
we're talking about
foreign, right?
You're right. So we're talking about it from people that have been using this stuff for years.
Yeah. Right.
In your experience, you're out in the market. You're talking to everyday
AI
users,
everyday new.
Like, what are you actually seeing in the market right now?
Yeah, it's a great point. I just actually gave a talk a couple weeks ago about this, and it's very similar to what you were talking about with social back in the day and digital back in the day when it started. It's a sugar rush. Everybody starts doing it. It's free. They get you all hooked on it, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, it's not bait and switch per se, but they got to start making money. And now you've built on all these platforms that they just overnight go away. Right. And the people that, I'm working with small business owners, maybe a smaller mid-sized business that is a sales-led org that has never really taken the time to get data foundations in place. They don't have great processes. They've been doing it manually and just outworking people. Those people are not on the radar screen of anything that we're talking about, right? I just had a coffee with somebody this morning who's an engineer type, owns the business, spends one day a week trying to stay up with this stuff. And he actually kind of did an app where he took all of his employees' addresses and they're going to look for a new warehouse, and he wanted it to be centralized to where everybody was. So he called it vibe coding, right? And so he vibe coded an app to figure out where his new warehouse should be. Man, that's such a cool use case, really interesting, right? But then the next breath, when I was talking to him about Perplexity and Notebook LM, had never even heard of those words before, right? And to us, that's 3 years old, those things, not Perplexity. But again, so people, there's still a big curve of people using it, or, people are using it personally, even, maybe at night for the business, because the business itself isn't structured in a way that they can use it without, through their day-to-day. So it's all these kind of like one-off things, and people are, again, they're not paying for it yet, just like when Facebook started. Every business created a Facebook page because it was free, right? Some of them pay people like me, some of them ran it themselves. A few years later, nobody took the time to figure out what the goals were, what they were doing with marketing. It was just free, and they went and did it. And then they got stuck and went, oh, we got to figure out what we're doing with this now.
Right.
For the people that I talk to day to day, still in the same spot with AI. Talked to another guy 2 days ago, and they were doing a bunch of API calls and integrating different systems, but the data was so dirty that even though he had the knowledge, a younger guy, really bright tech guy, he would understands all of this stuff, but the systems that they had and the data they had access to didn't allow him to cleanly automate more than he already was, right? So he was still doing some manual work. So even the people that are forward thinking, that's kind of my biggest thing with it, right? Is the foundations and the structure and the processes that you need to really, really cook with this to be able to say, okay, it's worth $1,000 because I'm saving on X people or I'm saving on Y things. It's just not there yet.
So I was going to make an argument here about the overall amount of intelligence that these new models, each kind of mythos is so powerful that it can, deconstruct your atoms, blah, 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 blah. And so you kind of think, where are they going with this? Because now if you think about some of the open source models that exist today, they're as good as GPT 3.5 was. And we built some pretty cool shit with that, just that. And so like now you have local models that are as comparable to models that were 3 years ago. And at what point do you step back and say, okay, well, let's really look at what we're trying to build here. And outside of coders, right? Coders are always going to want the latest model because we want to build shit faster. But people who are actually just consuming it, you can actually build things with these public models now that are actually pretty good. But what happens is, I think we're going to have a convergence. There's going to be a ton of companies that are never going to be able to get their data clean. They're not going to have governance. You're going to need these super, super smart models that you are going to pay $10,000 a month for, that you can literally just have it just pass in all of your corporate slop, and it's powerful enough to handle that. I don't need that in the product that I'm building.
So that's what I'm seeing. So I have a client who we just did it's a larger health care provider.
Okay.
And they had the traditional, customer service, front desk, website and all that. And they just threw AI at their intake problem. And what they did, and it's working at some level, but they just went and bought AI.
Yeah.
And that AI is enabled through voice. So it handles all incoming phone calls.
Yep.
It takes all the customers through a workflow. And in order to do business with them, you have to go through this workflow. You have to call the phone number. You have to talk to AI. Now, they have people rage clicking on zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have people hanging up. They have other processes that are hamstrung because of this. But there are companies that have these solutions. They're like, hey, we'll save you time, but they're expensive, right?
Yeah,
There's everyone's like, oh, I'm building this, I'm building. There are companies that have already built it,
100%,
and they have gone to market.
Yep.
They are expensive solutions, right? And so that's where I go to your point about like people that are trying to use AI to make their business better. If you are that, founder-led sales, by the seat of your pants, I work really hard. I have good agency. I keep it all up here.
Yeah.
Obviously, like AI is going to have limited impact on your business from a holistic perspective.
Right.
I still think though that to your point about like them building the dashboard and that there's a lot of like, hey, I'm going to try this little thing here.
Totally.
I'm going to try this little thing here. I think that's a good way to get into it. But ultimately, if you're going to, Chris, if you're going to like transform your business, like like AI latches onto things that are predictable, that have processes, that have, inputs and outputs.
Right. Okay. So, but you were going to ask a business thing. I don't want to talk about fucking business for a second.
That's boring.
I'm so tired of fucking business. That's all we talk about is business. And business is bullshit. It's not fun. But so
it's great.
I would like,
business.
I know, but that's a horrible trait of yours. No, I'm kidding. What I want to know from each of you how are you leveraging AI in your non-business life? What are you using AI? Because that's one thing I always ask people when they're like, I wouldn't do AI. I'm like, well, how are you using it in your non-business life? And they're like, I'm not. I'm like, okay, well, you need to be. So how are you using it in your
Well, I was just talking about it. I built an app for my family.
Yes. And so can you say the name yet, or are you going to wait until it's in the App Store?
I already regret this name because I just made it up because I was just trying to do this one thing,
right.
And I called it the Fam.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. I think that's fine. The Fam.
The Fam. Okay.
The Fam. Okay. And
trademark check.
It is going to
probably,
be.
Yeah, seriously. I didn't do any of that.
But it's potentially going to be in the App Store. And I will say, this thing looks fucking legit as hell. Like, it's like, oh my God, dude. Well, what the fuck?
The one thing that I know so right now in my life, there are 8 different apps that control my family's workflows.
Right.
So for sports, we have Sports Engine, which is owned by Comcast, NBC. We have league apps. We have Game Changer. We have there's another one. I forget the name. And then we have Parent Square for the school stuff. Mm-hmm. We have emails. Yep. We have random texts.
Some calendar.
We have calendar invites. And so anyways, I had this idea where I was like, you know what? I'm never going to solve the integration of all these things. I need to send unstructured data to an app and have it consume everything. And I want this to be for stuff that's not on my business calendar. I want it to be for my personal calendar. So what I did was I just went inside the Apple ecosystem and I found CloudKit.
Yeah.
And CloudKit is a really private, secure, way of owning your own data, really. And it also has 0 infrastructure costs. I have not spent $1. Now I have some LLM calls.
Sure, of course. Right.
Which I think that Apple will eventually bring that onto the device.
Oh yeah, no,
so
you can do it actually, but I don't. It's not ready yet. It's not smart enough. But yeah, it absolutely. So the APIs are available that you could do it.
And this is one of the big theses I have is like we used to build everything with React Native. And sorry if I'm going off on a tangent, but
no, we like tangents here.
You'd write React Native so you can run on Android, you can run on iOS. Right. Well, the problem is that you don't get the latest and greatest.
Exactly.
Swift UI is really cool. Like there's just like now you're a part of the NPM ecosystem. So you have all these third-party dependencies, which get fucking hacked all the time now. Which, believe me, those are all still problems today.
It's only going to get worse too.
But it was nice to build inside a very contained ecosystem.
Totally. It's clean.
It's clean.
It's clean.
It felt good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that for me, using AI to do stuff that's just for my family is very important right now.
That's cool.
I just need my wife to buy into it. She's finally buying in.
Is she?
She was so anti this app. She was so mad I made it.
That's great though, because like once you convert her, then because there's going to be people that hate the idea of it, but if you can convert her, then you got that's great.
She added something to it today.
Toughest market, right? Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I think for me, like my personal life is so busy with 3 kids and all that. So everything that I do has to do with just becoming more efficient. So at the end of the day, I can sit down and drink a beer and chill.
Spend more time on business.
Yeah.
Okay. And Chris, what about you, buddy? What's your day to day?
Business isn't. I mean, that is my whole day to day.
No. I'm going to start pushing everybody on this because goddamn.
But hear me out though. So because I'm using a lot of AI tools in my business, cheating is not the right word, but I feel like my output can be as exponential as a 2 or 3. I mean, I used to be a part of like a 6-person boutique firm. So
is that like a
agency boutique? Not like a clothing.
No, I thought we were talking like a quartet of singers that wear the funny hats and shit.
No, definitely not. Okay. No musical talent here. Right. But and I was talking about earlier. It would take one person on our team was on the call taking notes. She was great at taking notes and like paying attention in context. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The other people were kind of talking solutions and figuring out. We have a 45-minute an hour call. The 3 of us would have to sit there and triangulate what we talked about on the call to make sure we all kind of understood in our lanes. Somebody would say, "I didn't understand that. Clarify this." And then if a proposal was coming out of it, it took us another 2 hours to go all triangulate all that. I can do the job of 3 people now after a 45-minute call that I feed the transcript in, that I've got gems and things built that they know how to do it the way I like to do it. And I can output a proposal that gets me 90% of the way there, because one of the things that I'm the worst at is creating documents, right? Whether it's design or just documents aren't my thing.
And that's
now that's out of the way.
That's the stuff that hangs over your head when you're at home with the wife.
100%. So now, seriously, I can put in less time.
Yep.
And it's still got my context, my brain, like the output's still great. And I have time to have a personal life and do that stuff.
I think one thing that's insane is like, I like to play golf, but golf is the absolute worst if you have work going on.
Oh yeah,
because you have time to think about it.
You can't do shit. You're playing golf,
right?
I can't pick up the thing and, dude,
leave yourself a voice note in the middle of the 9th fairway about how to code something.
Yeah, or someone's slacking you and you're like, I've gotten 4 of those. It must be important. Like, what do? You build a company to delegate. What's the reason why I started my business? Started Crafted. One of the main reasons I started Crafted is because I wanted to be able to go on vacation. Because I could never go on vacation.
Right.
I'd have to leave and somebody would need something and it would be stressful. And I'm like, this isn't fun for me.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking about is that I am getting destroyed. And I had a couple things that happened when I went on vacation, like two years. One of them, I had a client that had stuff that would go on during Christmas, which is the fucking worst.
Sure.
Right. And so, but the point is like leveraging your time by A, getting more done.
Right.
And then B, even when you get hit up on the golf course or when you're out, having like, put a little agentic workflow in there, right? Leave some of your stuff running, go to remote control, right, mode on Claude or whatever. And you're like, I can kind of deal with this or stuff's getting done and I don't have to necessarily be worried about just being able to, move at the speed of your customers and your needs without feeling like bad about it. Because at the end of the day, like I have customers that know we use AI. I have customers that have seen people come and go. I have customers that are like, I don't care who works on this.
Right.
I just want this shit to get done.
Right.
Yeah, they're paying for the benefit, not the feature you, right? So, and to that point too, right? From what are you using your time with, even personally, I'm a big research guy, right? Like I'm going to go research 17 different options before I make a decision on it, because again, I have access to the information, and that's just the way my brain works. Well, now I can do that in like no time.
Right.
So even at night, if I'm buying, I don't care if it's buying a car, whatever you're doing in your personal life, figuring out what to make. I know I saw you were cooking along with AI the other day, right? Like before, you'd have to go figure out, you'd be Google searching what products, what I have ingredients.
Right.
All that time is cut down.
Yeah.
The funniest personal life story is I'm a Google guy, right? And so I've got Gemini Live where I can share the screen. And my family calls it my little guy now, because whenever we're out, they're like, want to know what plan it is, what's this thing? And so I'll turn on Gemini and it'll do the screen share and it'll talk back to me and say, oh, that plan is this, or you should do. And so let's pull out your little guy and ask your little guy. So like he's solving arguments for us now when we're out at dinner. We're just inherently, sitting there, hey, we used to be, hey, Google, not that anymore. But again, I'm tech forward guy too, so it's just sort of inherent.
But like all of these are going to be starting to set the precedence for this type of thing that people are going to be like. So like what you just said is that I co-cooked with Grok. So I basically put on my headphones, I connect to Grok, and I'm like, all right, we're going to cook. I was like, here's what I got in my refrigerator. And I say a bunch of stuff. It's like, all right, we're going to make a creamy, cheesy tomato linguine. I'm like, let's go. And so I never once looked at the screen.
Fold in the cheese. I told you how to fold in the cheese.
Yeah, I mean, and she's like, now do this and do this. I'm like, well, are you sure about that one? She's like, well, no, you can do it this way or that way. But I never once looked at the screen. I never had to do anything. I could just do it all through voice. And so for me, the voice parts of this AI experience now is becoming just critical because when I'm having to type, I'm having to make sure I'm not misspelling, making sure I'm not everything. My dyslexia is like, I've got to like just focus in. Sure. When I'm talking, I can just riff. And so I'm so much more effective with the voice side of things. And it was just magical. And it ended up turning. So funny enough, I did the same thing with ChatGPT a couple weeks ago, and it was horrible. And it was horrible because it told me, just do a pinch of sugar, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been a lot more. But Grok killed it. I mean,
really?
it honestly, it was the best thing that I've ever made so far. And I'm just kind of getting into cooking now. But this is the first thing that I was like, oh my God, I ate the whole thing. And it was just like, I could totally eat another one of these. It was amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're not doing this, like these types, there's just so many different opportunities you can do. If like Instructions are another thing. Hey, I'm trying to put this thing together. It can literally go to the website, read the instructions, and you can just have a voice conversations with the instructions instead of sitting there trying to go through all this bullshit. Give it a PDF of the instructions.
Notebook LM would probably be a good one for that. Or
Right.
is it like when I first was using it, it was like it would do the 2-person podcast.
It still does.
Right.
That's one of the coolest and creepiest things that creeps people out if they've never heard that before.
Yeah.
If you've never done that before, Notebook LM, and feed it some source material. Even if you just, it's great at screen grabs too. If you screen grab, just give it some information and do some output with it. Because they work in the ums and the ands, they have this natural voice.
Right.
It is wild.
Yeah,
Is it always 2 people?
I think right now it is.
Could I have like 9
But
people?
it's much more
Round table.
whatever they wrote some really interesting code, but it's like very conversational. It's very relaxed.
Correct.
Like they actually figured out how somebody, don't touch it because it's right. you
Yeah,
know?
right.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
versus ChatGPT where it's like that same guy on Instagram.
Yeah.
Who's like, I'm dying, ChatGPT. What should I do?
Dude.
Did you see Sam Altman's reaction video to that?
No. What do you do?
Dude, you'd think that like he'd be like, that's funny. I love that somebody's. He was so pissed off.
That guy's a fucking weirdo.
He
He's
was
a fucking
so
weirdo.
mad, and he was like, he was seething. He couldn't believe
Jesus.
that somebody made him sit there and watch that because you could tell he'd seen it a million times, right?
Yep.
And he was like had to be forced to sit there and act and watch it like he'd never seen it before,
Like the,
And he
McDonald's,
was
like
just
the McDonald's CEO eating the sandwich.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Like, did he not enjoy the sandwich?
No, he just. I mean, the guy seems like he's maybe a little awkward, just a hair. That's fine. He's kind of a little nerdy guy, and he takes the sandwich, and he's very proper, and he just goes, that is a very tasty product. And he said product. I'm spitting because it was so good. It's actually not a bad burger, by the way. That's the arch, the big arch. They brought it back, but anyway, I've only had it once. And I probably won't have it for another 4 or 5 months, but it was tasty. But yeah, he just got skewered because of that. It's funny.
Had the wrong people on camera.
Exactly. It almost feels like though that it was by design because like McDonald's, like they don't just.
It's McDonald's. Yeah, they've got some people there telling you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's like it's very hard for things to sneak by. And if you were like Wendy's, Wendy's has kind of elevated the precedence in marketing in terms of just marketing. They go fucking hard on people. They slam people on TikTok or on X.
They're still on X, yeah.
Yeah, and they'll like if you go and message them something, they will come back and they will smack you. They are the best shit talking restaurant.
Ask them about the big cheese. Let's see what they can do.
Oh, good God!
You should come back with it.
No, have you not seen
I
these?
can't get off this window.
No, but have you not seen these?
What?
Oh, Wendy's, like how
Just
Wendy's
roasting people.
Wendy's goes roast hard. Oh, it's brutal.
It's their thing,
Oh,
though.
it's their thing, and it's hilarious. And so McDonald's, I think, is probably sitting there going, because McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King are obviously 3 of the main competitors that we have here. How am I going to get attention? Well, it's almost too genius.
But also, it's like you are an online social brand that doesn't necessarily translate to sales at the store, in my opinion.
I don't think they care. They don't care.
I guess what's your opinion on that, Chris? Like, if you just have some wacky, I know it's more social media. If you have some wacky strategy like that, like, is it actually meaningful?
It's just awareness, right? It takes however many mentions of your brand to stick in your brain.
It's still that-
Brandon couldn't
right.
remember how many times I've told him my last name, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
not
7 or
Theisen,
8
it's Tyson.
times. 7 or 8 times. The more times Wendy's has just now been ingrained into anybody watching.
Well,
this,
now
right?
it has
so
been
it's a
because
mention. It's an awareness
yeah.
play.
So it still
Yeah.
works. So it does still work.
I don't think that, again, you're never going to be able to track it, and at that level, it's just a brand awareness.
What about Nutter Butter? Did you ever look at Nutter Butters? No. So Nutter, if you want to go see,
that's a deep cut.
No. So Nutter Butters' social media presence is the craziest thing you've ever seen, and they literally just gave somebody a computer with some like 1994 graphics and acid, and just said, "Go make us videos." And it's literally like cut out squirrels dancing around. It makes no sense whatsoever. Wow. It is the wildest shit.
Okay,
but we're talking about Nutter Butter. Yeah. We're talking about McDonald's. And how do you break through the clutter? I mean, especially as AI is going to happen. My thing, we're going to have a trillion fucking apps, and everybody's going to have an app for every little different thing. How are you going to kind of start standing out in this, and how is it going to work? It's going to be crazy. Yeah. The sea is going to get very rough, I think. Yeah. The blue ocean is going to be green and filled with all sorts of weird shit.
Well, and there was this shift too, like that's with like dark social, right? Everybody started going into Facebook groups, and they were going, into places that brands couldn't track.
Sorry, I've actually not ever heard the
dark
term
social.
Dark
yeah,
social,
I've never
but
heard
it makes
of that term.
sense.
So
what is dark social?
So you talk about branding and how that builds business and all those things. And from a marketing standpoint, how do you track that? How do you prove ROI? Everybody got leery of all these brands being in their mentions and listening in and back and forthing, right? So it turned into a lot of Facebook groups, communities, niche things that you don't know unless you're in that community. The brands and the businesses can't track that stuff, right? Because you have to be a member. It's not scrapable, right? It's not public. It's dark,
right,
so it's dark social,
right?
And so the brands switched to having. I mean, that's where a lot. I mean, you know this with your daughter. That's where the influencer marketing came out of. Yep. So brands couldn't keep inserting themselves. People got tired of listening to the brands. They got tired of getting listened to. And you're seeing that with AI right now too, right? There's some pushback around, like you talked about your client, right? People pressing 0, get me out of this crap. I don't want to talk to the robots. Right. That's where they came up with influencer marketing to sort of end around all of that. And they infiltrated all that, all that business, because it's about awareness for them. That's what they're trying to get, is their name mentioned more than anybody else.
Right.
So,
well, I think it goes without saying that like people have concerns about AI and they're warranted.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we can have this podcast today without talking about fucking Lovable and Vercel.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, shit.
So Sunday, it comes out that, do you know what the platform they were using was called?
It was like not context, but like convex AI or something like
so
this.
So Vercel is like,
Vercel.
Yeah.
They host.
Yeah,
they're
apps and hosting.
Yeah, they host tons of stuff.
But so they host tons of stuff, but also we've talked about Lovable on the podcast a lot. Lovable, any application that you basically deploy. Did they have a partnership with Lovable?
I'm
maybe
not
not.
sure.
No.
I'm not sure.
Not out of the box.
Lovable's
Ignore me.
the de facto vibe coding platform.
Right. Okay. Anyway, but yes.
So Vercel had an internal employee that's basically got compromised through an AI tool that they were using, and it exposed their entire internal database.
Got it.
Okay, and they posted it for sale on the dark web for $2 million.
Wow.
But that wasn't it. It's way worse than you think. So first of all, they had to tell all their customers to roll all their environment variables, because everyone's environment variables, which are like basically secrets that your app has. So if like you have to connect to a third party like Stripe for payments, you put a secret in there, and your secret's supposed to stay secret.
Because if that secret becomes unsecret, I can go in and I can extract all of your money. I can charge more things.
Yes.
I can burn up all of your AI. These are username and passwords. When we say these keys, these are usernames and passwords.
And so these AI tools that exist on people's computers now have a lot of times get unfettered access to the entire machine.
Right.
And so that's what basically you have a Trojan horse, just some person. Now we're in. But now I have this level of sophistication.
Yeah.
Right? This level of sophistication that's like a premeditated attack. So not only did I get access, but I was ready I knew everything I needed to do once I got in. And so they got all the information. And not only did they get it, they systematically exploited the information. So now they released another update last night that, not only did they list this for sale, they were looking for, they were taking the data and implementing exploitations.
Right. Yep.
So there's a difference between getting hacked and getting exploited.
Exactly. Sure.
They were doing both.
Holy shit. And this is just the beginning.
So they may not, how long is it going to take them to even figure out where that all is?
That's what they're trying to do now.
Yeah.
Basically, their update last night was, guys, this is not over because now we're dealing with extreme exploitation level of this data. And so second thing is that on Tuesday, Lovable found out actually it had been previously reported, but basically if you just go into the web inspector, you could tool around and basically impersonate other users. And in doing so, you could pull down their chat histories. And inside those chat histories is sensitive data like, oh, hey, all I need to set up your website is your Stripe API token.
Wow. Because they've already,
Because Lovable wants to do everything for you and doesn't want to do anything.
You're right, and yes.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me just add that for you. So they're taking on that, and that's what the problem I've always had with Lovable is you're putting in very sensitive information into the chat.
Yeah.
That chat goes into a database that has a history. It's not
bogged.
encrypted.
Yeah,
in fact, it's just sitting in the browser half the time.
That's crazy.
And so then they said, this is by design. They came out and their PR people were like, no, this is by design. And then finally their CEO yesterday came out and was like, yeah, we really did a bad job managing that.
So, dude, this is
because they probably vibe coded Lovable, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
dude, they didn't have you guys to go build up the tool.
No. So, but here's where we're at. Like, again, I said this earlier last year. Again, this 2026, 2027 is going to be fucking the most hilarious time ever.
It's idiocracy.
It's gonna be the most ridiculous shit ever. And now I was just having a conversation with somebody on a call. Think about script kiddies. We all remember script kiddies when we were younger. Script kiddies, if you don't know what a script kiddie is, script kiddie was just this one guy. He wasn't that good at programming, but he could go online. He could find a little thing. He could copy and paste it. He could run it in a terminal. He could send it to his friend. He could hack some shit and do some things. Script kiddies. They were always just a pain in the ass, but you could usually work around them. AI has just injected steroids to a different level of script kiddies, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, like every little kid like me who is just like, let's just have some fun and wreak havoc. Right now, I can just be like, hey, AI, and they're gonna be like, no, you can't do it. I'm like, I'm gonna run it locally.
And that's the other thing is AI has desensitized us to running shit on our machines. Like,
oh yeah,
like people have gone through 2 or 3 round interviews,
right,
on like Zoom interviews with real humans, and at the very end, they're like, hey, clone this GitHub repo. I need you to make some changes. And inside of it is some nefarious NPM package that has a shell script. Boom, you're done.
Holy shit. It's going to be crazy.
The whole thing was
wild.
just to get you to clone a fucking GitHub repo.
Dude, it's going to be wild. And I'm here for it because, again, we shouldn't be doing this. Like, again, AI should not, no one should be using AI at the level that we're using it. And I think there's going to be one company who's going to be proven right. And that's going to be fucking Apple. And they're going to be
saying it for years.
I know. And so it is
from their security angles. Are you talking about?
No, they're just like, you know what? Fuck all this. We're not playing this. We're staying out of this for the most part.
So that's where I think that they're caving. Dude, I activated Claude inside Xcode,
and I did see that. That's cool, but that again, they're not running models. Like again, build,
they're not
to build models. Like to build a foundational.
They're like
model,
if you want to use Claude through Xcode, you can.
Right, but like their investment compared to everybody else is like nil.
So they came out with when they got roasted when they came. They were like, "Here's the secure enclave.
Right,
You're going to be able to use AI securely." Right. Everyone was like,
"We don't care."
But 2 years later, 3 years later,
it is. It's
right.
Gonna, it's going to be.
They're going to be like, "I remember that thing we had.
Yep.
This is how it's all going to work. It just took us longer because we don't like to compromise our customers' data."
Exactly.
Well, then it's going to turn into like the SaaS stuff, right? You're going to pay the Salesforce of the world $1 million for a crappy product because it's secure, right? Then other people are going to be trying to roll up their $50 a month, this tool and that tool. And to your point, there's going to be so many of those out there. As long as somebody's good at marketing it, you don't have any idea. And these niche products have always been horrible at this. They're really good at marketing to like their user base in their insert industry here. Those people aren't tech forward. They have no idea the words these people are saying. They know AI. They throw AI on it. Right. And it's just, again, there's not security. There's not any of these data practices in place. and your stuff's just going away.
Yeah, I think we're
and that's
those trillion apps are all going to be insecure, is what I'm saying.
100%.
so. What do we? Well, I mean, okay. So Enron, right, was a huge failure from the auditing authority. Okay, so Enron was falsifying their financials, essentially. Call it whatever you want.
Right.
Well, what was the reaction? Sarbanes-Oxley. Okay, so then now all publicly traded companies had to get certified for a yearly audit, right? Then we have what? Who passed HIPAA? Was it Bill Clinton? Was it in the 90s?
It's not that long ago.
Right.
The HIPAA is a law,
Well,
and now
we're
you have to
old.
get certified, right? Then you have the SOC 2 thing always seemed like kind of a cash grab.
Right.
But there's and this is what was happening before the election.
Yeah.
Was they were the Euro and even like the Biden, they were trying to get together to come up with some standards for AI.
Right.
And that shit got thrown out the fucking window.
Yeah. No.
It's the Wild West.
It is absolutely the Wild
what's
West.
probably going to end up happening is people are going to get their bank accounts emptied out.
Well, yeah, no, polio is going to hit, and dysentery, and people are going to lose all their
Oregon
money.
Trail style,
They're going to lose legs and limbs.
But what's going to happen is they're probably going to have to enact a law that's like you cannot create software that's just taking in this data. You have to it needs to be encrypted.
Yeah,
the
surely
rest.
there's-
And so it's going to make it more expensive to. You're not just going to be able to vibe code and like you're going to have exposure. You can't just go. Sorry, we got hacked.
I mean, so but then to do that though, then puts basically it
goes against
foundationally
everything that we're trying to do.
Exactly.
Which is burn as much tokens as possible.
Not even that, but more just even the American way, which is we've built a platform. You can go release whatever you want, and then people can. The free market.
But that's not how it's
the free market's
always been, right? Like you have had laws passed to protect.
It's always been a free market, sir.
From
has.
a technology standpoint.
Yes,
I'm just kidding.
But you've had laws passed as reactions to major incidents.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, 9/11
It's gonna
happens.
happen.
Patriot Act. Right?
I just
there's
would
going to be
hate-
some sort of 0-day event
that happens,
that they're like,
right.
okay, we have to do something. About
And
this.
how bad is it going to have to be?
Well, they're going to shut. Well, it'll be a power grid thing, and somebody's going to hack their way in because they got in through some
It's
email,
going to be
right?
something that's where you can't get gas and you can't go to the grocery
not-
store.
I'm going to go get my drink. You guys keep talking.
But that's and that's the part that with as much as the AI tools are already working with the governments, right? They'll figure out a way to centralize that and make it be some government entity, and you're going to have to be compliant, and all the data is going to pass through their servers because they're going to want to have access to it and be able to pull it down. Or you're going to be able to pay to circumvent that. Like they're going to figure out a way. The business guy left. We can talk business, right? They're going to figure out a way for them to make money on this, and it's not just going to be the VCs dumping their money in. It's going to be either you paying to circumvent that, or somebody's going to get access to that data.
Regardless of if it's a law or whatever, I think what doesn't exist is a clear standard
Right.
of how to operate an AI business that's taking on unknown information from people,
Yep.
right? At some level, that'll have to be regulated.
Yeah. Well, literally just today, Google. I'm a Google Workspace shop, and they sent me the email. Hey, now by default, you don't have to feed us any of your source data as long as it's in our Workspace, applications. We're turning that on where we can read Drive, Chat, Notebook LM now, so they can read all that by default, which is what I want. That's great, right? But if you don't know that's the default and you don't understand that your business and your company, now all your data is in there. Now, they're saying that they don't train their models. They're saying they don't do this, and they've got this, we're still secure. But who's to know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it, Microsoft and Google should be the two ones that are most apt to win there because they already have security and access controls around your data.
Right.
Right. You log in. I have Google Drive. I've shared this. I've not shared this. A lot of the other tools is just Wild West. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no maybe in Claude it's a shared project or whatever. But at the end of the day, what I was saying is that there's no standard regardless if it's a law or not.
Right.
There's no standard of how to operate an AI-enabled company.
No, but that's what I mean. It's too fucking early. Like honestly, like I can't believe some of my big client, my big sugar mama client. I mean, we've been working with AI now for like 3 years, and it's insane because really, like maybe in 2 years, like the rest of the world will be ready for us to like actually start using AI. It's just too damn risky, but we're here. There's no, I mean, the genie's out of the bottle, so we might as well try to figure out what do we do here. But it's almost like, think about when the blockchain came out and all the nerds were all excited about the blockchain, be like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And then all of a sudden, all the companies actually did it. They all started implementing blockchains, not really just because it was so fucking badass. And no values, not even comparable in terms of value, right, between AI and what the blockchain does. But they all get on board, then you just don't know. It's just too damn early. But so I'm just blown away because usually, like, I'm working with small companies who are trying to implement the new bleeding edge tech, and now it's like big ass companies who are all doing it too. And it's just like, you've got no standards, you've got no governance, you got no policies. I mean, this is crazy shit. Well, but I love it because I like crazy shit.
Well, you saw I can't remember her title. I don't know if you saw this. She worked at Alphabet or Google, whatever, and was head of some security compliance.
Oh, I saw that.
And lost her email.
Was she Meta?
Something.
And then she self-owned online.
Yes.
What are you
She
doing?
did.
Yes, and so if you don't know the story, so she had OpenClaw. Again, went out, gave it full access, let it go run wild, and it was trying to do a good thing. It was cleaning up. It was like archiving old email. And she couldn't get it to stop, and so she posted the screen grabs of her trying to get the system just to stop running, and essentially had to like unplug it to get it to stop.
And it deleted a shit ton.
Lost
a ton of
tens
emails.
of thousands of emails.
Just fully deleted.
And this
forever.
is somebody, again, so security and compliance. This is somebody whose job it is to be at one of the biggest corporations in the world that's tech-based.
But I think so, and this is a little bit of recency bias because the meeting I came from today, but I think people are so caught up in what's going on. Every single conversation right now starts and ends with AI.
100%.
So every single room, if you're doing anything in the, I guess, advising business or talking about a business besides like literally getting out the hammer and the shovel and doing the work, everything starts and ends with AI.
I know.
And so everyone thinks they're justified in doing and trying out and doing all these things. It's like John Hammond in Jurassic Park, you know.
Yes.
We spent so much time trying to find out if we could that we didn't just consider if we should. And it's just inevitable. And I've never been around. I've been in tech for 20 years. I've never been around something that felt more. You're older than me. That felt more justified, like that we're talking about this.
Like so it wasn't hype. It wasn't hype. It wasn't a shiny. Like the promise is there.
Yeah.
Right. So fair, but then it's also not being used well or. I mean, so I don't disagree because I think we all are enough of a on the front end of these things that we see where it could go and see the benefit of it, right, and see the good value in it. But I still think it's very shiny because, to Brandon's point, it's still so early that I still think from a business, just for people that aren't in tech, it's still a little early from that standpoint. I think we're a little clouded in that we see the future a little more.
And I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, so while it's early, I think we might have broken everything. Is that what might have just happened here is that this genie, because you can't deny that the genie is fucking magical. Right, so I use Codex,
but it's also out of the bottle.
It's out of the bottle.
Yep.
But
Can't
so
put it back.
So maybe that's what I mean is that so right now like I use Notion to keep track of all my times, right? And I have a very specific format and blah 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 blah. And I was like, well, I'm just going to connect my Codex to that, and I'm just going to be like, yo, add this to that, and it just knows my format. My format gets automatically imported to something else that I built to turn into my invoices, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like this chat interface, and specifically on the desktop because it can use my local resources, it can write programs, it can do some shit. This might be the most pure interface because now I can have it literally do everything.
But to Chris's point, you are in the 0.001% right now of that, and so I feel like
I had a point, but I kind of lost it.
No, but I think what you're saying is like I created this immense value in a business process,
right?
A lot of businesses aren't ready to take that on, And B, I think there's a coming revolt against AI to where they're going to be like, see, I'm differentiated because I'm not AI. I'm a human. I'm a person. So there's going to be this like push and pull on this, right?
Absolutely. I think you either are all in and you are upfront about being all in, and that's your business and that's your model, and you get the efficiencies and all that stuff, or you're all out, right? It's going to be the money ball.
Okay, it is. But
I agree.
But here's the thing, though, is that the best user interface is really no interface, right? The one that can just get your job done, whatever you're looking for. And right now, yes, there's only a small group of people that are using this. But once you go and you do have these things securely, reliably, predictably connected to your different services, there's this new interface, and it's a chat interface. It's what we've been doing since AOL, like fucking AOL rooms. This all of a sudden becomes a command control center. I don't need to think about buttons. I don't need to think that you like this purple fucking color for our primary and you like this red button, and I have all this executive function going back. I just have a single interface that knows me as a person, knows all the shit that I'm into, and I'm like, hey, I need to pay my bill. What bills do I need to pay? And it'll be like, oh, you got AES, you got this, you got that, you got this. You want me to go ahead and pay them? I'm like, well, you've got access to my browser, you got access to my computer. Yeah, go fucking do this.
I think that the tipping point of that is when they can charge their customers a much less of a price.
Who?
The AI first. So let's go back to the example. So the example is you have two companies. One's way on the side of the spectrum that there's no AI, right? Because it's either all in or not. Okay, so you're all in or not. So this one's not. So they're high touch, customer friendly, very human focused,
right.
And then there's the other one that's just command center, automated, really low, low overhead from an administrative cost perspective because they're automating everything. Customer experience, virtual, less high touch, maybe.
Right.
But they're going to probably need to charge a lower price.
Sure.
At some level. Because they need to compete to start getting the customer that's like, you know what? I really like this experience, this high touch experience.
Luna Records exists. There's no doubt about it. Luna Records exists.
So does Spotify.
And one beats the other. And so there's always going to be the purists. There's always going to be the people that are going to be. But I don't. Again, the genie is it's too powerful. And when all of a sudden it's now just a text message. Now we don't even need to have grandma log into an app. She just gets a text message all of a sudden. And she's like, oh, I'm going to add this to my thing. Well, and she's like, hey, Steve. Right? But that's what's going to fucking happen.
That's frightening. Well, just because of this.
Yeah.
Again, either somebody's going to have to build out all of the systems to connect all that to make it some secure, and then it's going to be costing a lot. Or it's Wild West, and you just. I mean,
I know.
I'm going to out my mom because she's not going to. She'll watch this, but she's almost gotten money stolen twice because somebody was really. And the one time I was listening in and like, who are you talking to? She's like, oh, customer service at my bank. The guy was really good. He almost got me, and I like whatever he said at the end. I was like, oh, wait, they wouldn't ask for that.
Right.
That's already happening just with phone calls. If you let somebody text message that stuff, it's going to be ridiculous.
And that's what the government should be doing right now.
Is regulating that.
Is what they should be doing. We talked about it, I think last podcast, or maybe it was just a business conversation I had. It was like they had, say no to drugs and this is your brain on drugs. And they spent money on those. They need to educate the population of what things will never get.
Does our current administration have the capability of educating our fucking population?
Well, I mean, but there's departments that work for them that do.
You mean the Department of Education?
Well, they don't do public service, but yeah, I mean, there's
that one that we don't like.
There's
there are a bunch
the new
of
Department
liberals?
of IT. Headed by
there's people there's services that the government should be performing.
1,000 fucking percent because again, all of this gets empowered. China's going to have as much access to everything else that we have, and we know that they've got armies of people who are going to try to hack the shit out of us.
I go back to Chris's point. Right. China's all in on AI.
100%. Yeah.
From top to bottom, and so they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
There's going to be pretty much a culture war between the AIs and the non-AIs. And I think that you'd think that the United States of America, because of how we're raping our farmland, we're killing our water supply.
Right.
We're not
good old capitalism.
That's the problem with capitalism versus a Chinese model. China's probably going to figure out a way to at least try to help it benefit their society at some level.
At least the big portions of their population.
Well, not even societal benefit, right? It's the technology to get to those quantum states to make it more efficient so they don't have to go take all the farmland in the water. They're going to do that because they're already talking at that level, to your point about building towards where it's going instead of where it's at. We're worried about where it's at. The old Wayne Gretzky quote, right? If you're a hockey guy, go skate to where the puck's going next. Don't skate to where it is now. Right. They're already doing that, and they're doing it so much that they're providing us their sources for free. Like, go ahead. Who knows?
Here's Quinn.
That couldn't be a better illustration of kind of where that's at, because they have the ability to say, guys, this is where we're going. You guys have to get on board, and everyone goes, all right, cool. Well, I didn't have any privacy anyways, so that's fine. Yeah. But like this is how we're going to sustain 3 billion people or whatever. Like for us, it's going to be pushback.
Yeah. As long as some rich people can get richer and some of the poor people stay poor, we're happy. That's it. That's the key.
Well, not
God
like
bless America.
the royal we, not we.
No. We need to be wealthy. Like that's that. Everybody else, fuck everybody else. That's again, capitalism, baby. Love it. It's the best thing we got. I get it.
Well, Chris, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, give the audience a little taste of what's coming from your end.
Yeah. So bullpen.consulting, which is super confusing. Nobody's like, where's like the .com?
That's the longest fucking TLD in the history of TLDs.
I know. I thought I was being cool and like gonna do it, and I didn't have to do .io like all these cool tech companies. I'm like, oh, they got .consulting now. Great, I'll pay for that.
Right.
None of the forms accept my freaking email address because it all thinks it's BS, and I get blocked on stuff. So. Anyways, or look me up on LinkedIn. So that's much easier.
We'll put him in the show.
Theisen, since you can't spell Tyson.
But spelled that way, and we'll link it to in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Chris, it's a pleasure, my friend.
As always.
Yep. Well, this has been the Big Cheese Podcast. We'll see you guys soon.